Welcome back, students. We have completed Introduction to Electronics in the last class. Now we will go with the new chapter, that is Semiconductors. Okay, Semiconductors. What are semiconductors? Conductors. You might have heard about conductors. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವಾಹಕಗಳು ಅಂತ. In your high school, you might have studied about conductors and insulators. Conductors are ವಾಹಕಗಳು, insulators are ಅವಾಹಕಗಳು. Conductors are those which allow electric current to pass through them, whereas insulators are those materials which do not allow electric current to pass through them. Then semiconductors. Semiconductor is like it conducts but not as conductors. Okay. Semiconductors, as we have discussed in our introduction class, because of the invention of semiconductors, there is a huge, tremendous change in the advancement in the field of electronics. So, already we had conductors. Then why these semiconductors are so important? Why the information technology is depending on the semiconductors? Because there are several important properties of semiconductors. The most important is, in semiconductors what happens is the charge carriers can be controlled. That means, what is current? Current you have already studied in your SSLC. The motion of charge carriers, the motion of electrons constitutes current. Okay, in detail we will study in our next classes. These flow of current, this flow of charge carriers, or this conductivity can be controlled in semiconductors easily. In case of conductors also it can be controlled, but in case of semiconductors, the number of charge carriers or conductivity can be controlled easily. And one more thing is, in semiconductors it is possible the unidirectional flow of current. If you take a copper wire, it is a conductor again, the current can flow in both the directions. If you connect here the battery, the current will flow this direction. If you reverse it, can be reversed. Whereas in case of semiconductors, the current can be flowing only one direction. And you might have thought, before the semiconductors, how the electronics devices were invented, that we have discussed using vacuum tube devices. Because of in vacuum tube devices also, the current used to flow in only one direction. The charge carriers used to flow in only one direction. And also the conductivity can be controlled using heating effect. If you heat more number of electrons are generated and it will travel in a vacuum. But there were so many disadvantages of vacuum tubes we found after the invention of semiconductors. What are those? The vacuum tubes were bulky in size, whereas semiconductors are small in size. So they can take low space. Okay, and in vacuum tubes we need to heat up the electrodes, so that it will consume more power consumption. Whereas in semiconductors, less power consumption. See, for example, earlier days, I have already told you, TV monitors were used to construct using these vacuum tubes. The dome shaped structure used to be there for the older TV monitors. In that, ever thought how much the power is required to run a older TV? It was around somewhere around 200 to 300 volts something. Whereas the new generation LCD and LED monitors require only 80 watts. So 80 or 60 watts nowadays. LCD, LED is lesser than again LCD. So low power consumption in case of semiconductors. And one more thing, they have short life. ಬಹಳ ದಿನ ಬಾಳಿಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Whereas semiconductors have long life and less reliable. Whereas semiconductors are more reliable. So these are the advantages of semiconductors over vacuum tubes that we have already discussed in the last chapter, but there may be a question in the examination like what are the advantages of semiconductors over vacuum tube devices. Okay, now coming back to, we'll forget the vacuum tubes because whatever we study now onwards, whatever we use the devices are all because of semiconductors. Now we look into semiconductors. So before going to study what is semiconductor exactly, we have to go through band theory of solids. So what is the band theory of solids? What is the band area? Band is nothing but energy band. What is that energy? Which energy we are talking about? For that we need to go to atomic structure of an element. That is, you people already know in your chemistry classes that an atom consists of central hard core nucleus which consists of positively charged proton and neutrons of no charge, and there will be electrons revolving around the nucleus in a specified orbits. Okay, you know this atomic structure in your chemistry class. I will just brief it for our band theory of solids. Okay, these electrons will be revolving around the nucleus. This is nucleus which consists of protons and neutrons, and electrons will be revolving around the nucleus in a specified orbits, either in a elliptical orbit or in a circular orbit. Okay, what are these number of protons and electrons? That decides the atomic number of the element. Okay, this and all you will see in your chemistry. And these electrons will be revolving in a different orbits in an elliptical orbit alone. Those orbits are named as, or you can also K, L, M and N shells. Orbits are shells. They are given as alphabetical names K, L, N and M shells. That if you consider this as a nucleus, these are the, I will put in a circular format. These are the different orbits where this is a first orbit, whereas this is a second orbit, this is a third orbit. These orbits are given names as K, L, M and N. And in further there will be some subshells for this, that is named as SPDF. That and all you are going to study in chemistry, and that is not required here. Okay, see, according to this electron revolving around this, how many electrons should be revolving, that decides the atomic number. So in particular orbit some specified amount of electrons will be revolving. What is that? Electron number. in K shell or in the first orbit, there should be 2 electrons. In L shell, in the second orbit, there should be 8 electrons. In the third orbit, there should be 18 electrons. And in the fourth orbit, there will be 32 electrons. That is decided by 2n square that you might have studied in your chemistry. So, if you consider I will take a conductor first, copper, which has an atomic number of 29. So, in the first shell, there should be fixed 2 electrons. In the second shell, there should be 8 electrons. And in the third shell, there should be 18 electrons. And already there are 2 plus 8, 10, 10 plus 18, 28. And in the last orbit, we will find only 1 electron will be remained. What is this last orbit is called as valence orbit. The electrons in the last orbit are called as valence electrons. So, these electrons revolving in a particular orbit possess some energy. Okay, that is called as binding energy of or orbital energy of the electron. If an electron is revolving around the orbit, that should possess, it is moving, that should, and it is in the same orbit, that should possess some kinetic and potential energy, and that energy is called as orbital energy or binding energy. That energy keeps that electron to revolve in that orbit. So, the theory tells is the electron in the first orbit, that is the orbit closest to the nucleus, possess higher negative energies than the electrons in the higher orbits. That means the electrons in the first orbit, I will call it as E1, the energy possessed by the electrons in the first orbit, that I will call as E1, and the electrons in the second orbit are called as E2. The electrons in the third orbit possess energy that can be called as E3, and this is the valence electron, and I have already told I will call that as EV. That means E1 is more negative than E2, and E2 is more negative than E3, and E3 is more negative than EV. That means these electrons which are very closest to the nucleus need more energy to detach from the atom. That means it's very difficult to remove these electrons from the atom compared to the higher orbit electrons. Okay. Normally, copper is a very good conductor that you people already know. The examples for semiconductor. The semiconductor materials we are using are silicon and germanium. The two, silicon is used more. That's why these days the technology is called as silicon technology. See, if I consider a single isolated atom, I have told you atom will be there which consists of the central hardcore nucleus, and electrons will be revolving around the nucleus, and how many electrons, that decides the atomic number. So these electrons will be revolving in a specified orbits. The electron number is also specific. Okay. See, in this, if I consider a single atom, what happens? I have told you the energy possessed by first orbit electron is E1, the energy possessed by second orbit electron is E2, and the energy possessed by the last orbit is what? EV, because the last orbit electrons are called as valence electron, and that is called valence orbit. Here, if you consider a silicon, for example, a silicon, you have taken only one atom, that is isolated atom. If you consider another atom of a silicon, if you consider another atom of a silicon, again the energy possessed by the first orbit is E1, second orbit is E2, and the third orbit is E3, or it is last orbit, it is EV. So, in a solid, in a crystal, if you take, there will not be a single atom. There are billions of atoms in a solid. So, when you consider isolated atoms, that means one atom of silicon, the first orbit electrons possess some energy, that is E1. If you consider another atom, the first orbit energy electrons possess some energy, that is E1. In the solid formation, when these atoms comes closer, the energy is possessed by the atom 1, atom 2 I call, energy possessed by the first orbit electrons of atom 1 will not remain same as the energy possessed by the first orbit electrons of atom 2. Because when the solid formation, when these atoms comes closer, there will be distraction for these electrons. ಒಂದೇ ಆಟಮ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದೇ ಆಟಮ್ ಇತ್ತು. You consider, you can just think it theoretically, practically one atom will not get. The energy is possessed by, if you take some 100 atoms like that, the energy possessed by the first orbit electrons will be E1 only. Whereas, when these 100 atoms comes closer, there will be distraction. For example, you people got an admission in Tungal College. Tungal College alli ellaru admission ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಶಾಲೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ತುಂಬ ಶಾಲೆಗಳು ಅಂದರೆ ಜಮಖಂಡಿ BB ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲಿಂದ ಹುಡುಗ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ರಾಯಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾಲೇಸಿಂದ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಮುಧೋಳದಿಂದ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾರೋಗೇರಿ ಕ್ರಾಸಿಂದ ಹುಡುಗ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಳ್ಳೂರು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಳ್ಳೂರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ 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 ಶಾಲೆಗಳಿಂದ ಬರೋರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗೆದಿರೋರು ತುಂಗಳ ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಸೇಮೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನೇ ಫಸ್ಟು, ಇವ್ರ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರೇ ಫಸ್ಟು, ಇವ್ರ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವ್ರು ಫಸ್ಟು. ಆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿರೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ತುಂಗಳ ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಶಾಣೆ ಹುಡುಗರು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್? ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟೆಡ್. ಒಂದು ಜಮಖಂಡಿ ತುಂಗಳ ಸ್ಕೂಲಿಂದನೇ ಬಂದಾನ, ನಮಗೇನು ಶಾಣೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲ CBSE ಹುಡುಗ ಬಂದಾನ, ನಮಗೇನು ಶಾಣೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟೆಡ್. ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲೂ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಅವರ ಶಾಣೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಕೆಳಗಂತ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಕೆಲವರು ನಾವು ಅವ್ರಿಗಿಂತ ಶಾಣೆ ಅಂತ ಮೇಲಂತ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. When you are in your schools, your energies, your confidence level was same. Whereas you have come to Tungal College, you are sitting with other students. The students are from the other schools. Either ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವ್ರದ್ದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ given a small example. ನಿಮಗೆ ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. The same way, there are so many atoms comes closer. The silicon crystal atoms comes closer. So energies of the electrons of different atoms will not remain same, but there will be slight difference in energies. For example, I will give you a numerical example. If E1 is equal to 13.6 electron volt minus 13.6 electron volt, E2 is equal to minus 3.4 electron volt, and E3 is equal to somewhere around 1.8 electron volt, something like that. This is for an isolated atom. If the another atom will come, that will be E1 dash minus 13.8 electron volt, and the another, if the third atom comes, that is minus 13.7 electron volt or 13.2 electron volt, something like that. There will be slight difference in energies of first orbit electrons of the different atoms. That forms a group of energies. And that group of energies is called band of energies or energy band. Understood? When you consider a single isolated atom, the electrons revolving in the orbits possess some orbital energy, and that energy will be same for another atom of the same crystal. But when the atoms comes closer, when the solid formation occurs, those energies of the first orbit electrons and the second orbit electrons and the third orbit electrons possess energies are slightly different in values, and those forms the energy band. Let us look into this energy band in a horizontal way. For example, this is an isolated atom. This is energy, electron energy, electron volt, and this is an isolated atom. First orbit energy, second orbit energy, the third orbit energy, third orbit electrons energy. These are the energy levels. When the atoms are coming closer by closer, what happens? Isolated atom idaga there will be only one energy level I have taken. When somewhere around 100 atoms come closer, what happens? There are 100 different energies or 100 energies of electrons with a slight difference in it. Will be formed. That means, and this is called as energy band. And one more thing I want to mention here, these energies of the electrons will be get distracted for the outermost shells, and inner band electrons will be less affected, or you can tell it will not be affected, because atoms alla hattatra bandaga what happens? When these atoms comes closer, the last orbit electrons will form covalent bonding with the neighboring atom. So usually the last orbit electrons will get distracted, and will study band theory of solids in case of last orbits only, because the inner orbit electrons are less disturbed when the atoms comes close. Okay. So the orbit nearer to the nucleus, that is the first orbit, we consider that is not affected by this solid formation, whereas second orbit is somewhat affected. This is the energy band for second orbit electrons, is the energy band for first orbit electrons, and this is the energy band for third orbit electrons. Which is the last orbit, that will be decided by the number of electrons in that. So the difference in these energies, is the separation between these energies where there is no electrons present, and that is called as forbidden energy gap, represented by Eg. The energy difference between two orbits, the energy of the electrons, the energy difference between the two orbits, that is called as forbidden energy gap. So the semiconductor material, that is silicon and germanium, what happens? For silicon, the atomic number is 14, will be central hardcore nucleus, 14 electrons. The first orbital, in the first shell there are 2 electrons. In the second orbit there are 8 electrons. Whereas in the third orbit, how many remain? 8 plus 2, 10. 4 are remaining. According to K, L, M and N, K shell will be containing 2 electrons, L will be containing 8 electrons, and M will be containing 18 electrons, and N will be containing 32 electrons, and so on. For the first orbit to fill, there must be 2 electrons. For the second orbit, L shell should be completely filled, in the sense there should be 8 electrons, it is completely filled with 8 electrons. And the third orbit, that is M orbit, that requires 18 electrons to fill it completely, but it is not completely filled. There are only 4 electrons remain, and those are called as valence electrons. And these valence electrons, here again I have considered an insulated atom. If you take a silicon crystal, there are billions of atoms. So the energy possessed by these valence electrons, that means when you consider some billions of atoms are silicon crystal, and the energy possessed by the valence electron is called as valence band. Valence band is the outermost orbit. It's an outermost orbit which can be completely filled or partially filled, which cannot be empty. Valence band, you can tell highest occupied orbit. You can call that as highest occupied orbit. Valence band is nothing but the outermost orbit, electrons possess some energy, and that is called as valence band. And it is the highest occupied orbit. It should be, valence band should be either completely filled or partially filled. Okay. I have already told you what it is telling. It is easy to detach the higher orbit electrons than the lower ones. And when the solid formation occurs, the last orbit electrons, these valence electrons, will be more affected, will make covalent bonding with the neighboring atoms. So, therefore, these valence electrons can be detached from the nucleus if they get sufficient energy. That means these electrons revolving in an orbit can be detached from the nucleus if you give the energy more than the forbidden energy gap. That is what I have told you. It is E1, E2, E3. If you give sufficient energy, if these electrons get sufficient energy either by increasing the temperature or if they get heated up, they can shift to the higher orbits. But it's very difficult to detach the electrons in the orbits closest to the nucleus. When the temperature increases, what happens? Which the electrons will be distracted? The valence electrons, which are located in the outermost orbit, those will be distracted. What happens? These valence electrons can be easily removed from the atom or easily detached from the atom if the temperature increases or if they get sufficient energy. When the valence electrons jump from this orbit and those become free, and these are called as free electrons. That is, here what happens? Only 4 electrons are there in valence band. In that case, still how many electrons required? Still 14 electrons should be required to fill the valence band completely. But a silicon crystal is having only 4 electrons left to fill the third orbit, and that has become valence orbit. And remaining 14 electrons, the energy possessed by the band, for example, is the outermost orbit electron. Up to this, we have considered isolated atom. Only 4 electrons. It is partially filled. The energy band of these 4 electrons will be represented here. Here in inner bands will be completely filled. And this band, where there are no electrons present, and that is called as conduction band. The band on top of the valence band, and that is called as conduction band, and conduction band electrons are called as free electrons. That means these free electrons, valence electrons present in the valence band gain sufficient energy and move to the conduction band, and they become free for conduction. So they are called as free electron. The band above the valence band is called as conduction band. Okay. Now, orbital energy of an electron we have studied for an isolated atom. And when we consider a crystal, there will be billions of atoms. So, energy energy bands will be formed when the atoms comes closer. In that we have studied valence band and represent using horizontal line. These are completely filled inner bands. And this is valence band, and on top of the valence band there is a conduction band which consists of free electron. Here the inner bands will be completely filled. In valence band you will find valence electrons. Valence band should be either completely filled or partially filled. Whereas conduction band electrons, either it will be empty or partially filled. That means valence electrons get sufficient energy and jump to conduction band, and they will detach from the atom and they will become free. So they are called as free electrons. The energy possessed by those free electrons is called conduction band. And the conduction band may be empty. At room temperature, these semiconductors behave as perfect insulators. So that we will study further. When these valence electrons gets heated up, that means when they gain external energy, before giving external energy, they will be present in valence band. When you increase the temperature or give some external energy, what happens? These valence electrons jump, detach from the nucleus, and that will come free. That time these conduction band will contain those free electrons are nothing but which gain sufficient energy and jump from the valence band, and they will become conduction electrons.